Hello again. I am Dr. Hokehe Eko. I'm the founder of Glow Pediatrics, and I also have Dr. Amara with me, who is our amazing pediatric holistic nutritionist and amazing ABA coach as well. So, hello, Dr. Amara, and welcome. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Eko.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, for those who have joined, would you mind telling us where you're joining us from? Would really love to know and see.
I
Hi.
oh sorry. Wait, I guess I joined on my phone at my house. Yeah.
Meaning, like,
Yeah.
where do
Okay.
you live? Yes.
Uh, I guess I think it was down in more just a little neighborhood, really. It's an all right place.
Okay. Welcome. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good
good,
evening, Doc.
good evening, Peace. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm joining from Toronto, Canada.
Oh, nice. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Yes. That's wonderful. We have
Thank
Canada in the house. I love Toronto. It's a really pretty city.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Cool. Welcome. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. So I also like to ask those of you who are here already, early birds, that's great. If you can tell us in the chat how you're doing today. So how are you doing? So 10 is happy and feeling energetic and just doing great. And 1 is not so sure. And 5 is I'm somewhere in the middle. You tell us where you are, and I'll share mine. I'm at an 8. I had a long day and a long drive, but I'm still feeling pretty good. So that's where I am. Oh, there's more people. Welcome everyone who's joined already. So let us know in the chat how you're doing. Oh, you're a 9. Wonderful. 7 out of 10. Well, I hope Amara, 8. Nice. I have a partner. So I hope at the end of the class you will feel much better because you will our hope and our the reason we're doing this class is that you live here better than you came in, right? And that you leave feeling equipped and empowered to have a wonderful holiday season with your family. So that's our hope. And so I think I've already talked about who we are, and what you're going to learn today is how gut health affects behavior, mood, and immune function in our children with ADHD and autism, and why our kids are so much more sensitive to inflammatory foods, especially during the holidays. It doesn't mean they are not during the rest of the year, but especially during the holidays, because we know what happens during the holidays, right? We have lots of treats and all the good things come out. So, also going to be teaching you practical strategies so you can prevent any behavior regression during meals and whatever events you may attend. And how can you as parents prioritize what's going on with your children, what your children are eating without feeling overwhelmed? Because that's our big mission at Glow Pediatrics, is right to walk beside you, hold your hand, so you never have to feel overwhelmed, because life and parenting is a journey, right? And the more help and grace you have to go along the journey, the better the journey is. And so how can we make better choices during travel and events? And also, give me 1 second here. How to enjoy holiday foods, right? Without feeling guilty the entire time. Yes. I know for me, that's a good, important one because there's some things I like to indulge in, right? So let's dive into it. Why does gut health matter? This is a, a topic I love to talk about because it's so foundational and yet so critical, right? To the health of our children. And research shows, because what we love to do at Glow Pediatrics is always rooted in research, right? It's not just off the top of our heads. What does the research show? Research shows that 80% of kids with autism and ADHD experience GI issues, so gastrointestinal issues like constipation or diarrhea or feeling bloated. And did you know that the gut produces over 90% of serotonin, which affects mood and emotional regulation? Yeah, that's it. The other big fact with the gut is that did you know that the gut produces a lot of melatonin? And if you know anything about sleep, right, you know that melatonin is critical for sleep, and the gut produces that as well. I like to point that out because I think everything is not just what I think. I know for a fact, research based also, and experience based, right, with the kids we've taken care of in our practice, is that everything is connected. The gut, the brain, your child's behavior, your child's sleep, your child's picky eating, your child's speech, it's all connected. And once you can address what's going on in your child's gut, you will start to see improvement in behavior, in speech, in focus, in sleeping, in pooping, in all that, potty training, all of it, right? We don't claim to cure autism or ADHD, but for sure, we know that once you can improve and optimize the health of your child's gut, it also improves the health of your child's brain, and the output, which is behavior in all these different areas, will definitely be improved. And also parents, right? Because the other thing we love to do at Glow Pediatrics is tell our parents, when we set up personalized nutrition plans for your children, do the same thing because it definitely impacts adults as well. So if you're not sleeping well and your child isn't sleeping well, once we make changes, do the same thing, you will start to see that your sleep will improve as well, as an example, right? So back to the gut. What is dysbiosis? This simply means there's an imbalance in the bacteria in the gut, and our gut is full of bacteria. Good bacteria, there's also bad bacteria, right? But when there's an overgrowth of bad bacteria and bad yeast, what happens is research has showed, and also experience, right, has showed that you can see a child with increased hyperactivity, irritability, sleep issues, behavior changes. I have seen children with an overgrowth of yeast be extremely aggressive. And once you take away the source, like you treat that and you rebalance the gut by putting in good bacteria and treating the bad fungus, the bad bacteria that's there, the aggression will decrease. And that's research based, not just my experience, but that's also what we see in the children that we take care of. And this is a known fact that children with ADHD and autism often have higher levels of neuroinflammation, which makes them more sensitive to dietary triggers. So basically, food is medicine or not, right? If your child is eating foods that are inflammatory to their gut, your child's brain is also going to become inflamed, and you'll see the behaviors that you don't want to see, like the aggression and the irritability and the mood changes and the lack of focus and the not sleeping well, because again, the brain controls sleep, right? And even speech. All of these things are affected. So like I've said already, the gut and the brain are constantly connecting, right? And constantly talking to each other directly through the vagus nerve. And for sure, when your child's gut is healthy and also your gut as a parent, you start to see that children are calmer, their focus improves, they're able to go to school and learn better. When your child goes to therapy, if your child has autism and is in ABA or speech or occupational therapy, you will find that what they're teaching them in therapy, they actually are able to practice it, they're actually learning better, right? Than if their gut is on fire. That's how I like to say it. When your gut and your brain are on fire, doesn't matter how much therapy we give you, it's not gonna have the effect it should until you lower the fire or extinguish the fire that's going on in your child's gut and brain. So what does an inflamed gut look like? What does that look like? We've talked about that already. Some mood swings, hyperactivity, digestive distress. So think about it. If you have a really bad tummy ache, right, as an adult, and you can't explain it to anybody, how do you respond? How do you act? Do you lash out at people? Are you irritable? How do you respond? I want you to stop and think about that. And then think about this child, your child or our children with ADHD and autism, and they often can't express themselves, and their tummies are literally on fire, right? They can become really aggressive in their bid to lessen the impact of the pain they're feeling. And something that can be a giveaway clue, right? If your child is constipated, for example, and you find them rubbing their tummies against like a bed or a chair or a hard surface, that's them trying to relieve the pain that they feel. That can be something you look for in your children. And that's an inkling into, okay, their tummies are really full and they don't know what to do and they're in distress. So that way you help them. And like I've said, food is medicine. So your food choices will either worsen or will support your gut-brain connection. I think I've already gone over this. Lots of signs we've talked about. And I want to add, we're in the cold season, right? If you're in the US and you're in Canada, right? Also, what shows up is frequent colds, immune challenges, because remember, everything is connected, right? And you start to see like skin changes, eczema. When you see a child with eczema, you need to look at the gut, because whatever you see on the skin, right? Because the skin is the largest organ that we have for detoxing, right? You know it's coming from, there's an issue with the gut. And also you have to look at the liver. Is the liver not detoxing like it should, right? So everything is connected in the body. And you start to find, the other thing you will see in as a sign of gut imbalance is increased food sensitivities and your child becoming pickier and pickier and pickier. I've seen kids in my practice that only eats two things, and or the chicken nuggets has to come from McDonald's and that's the only chicken nuggets they will eat. Even if there's 10 other options, they have to eat only one. And that's a sign of a gut imbalance, because once you can balance out the gut, you will start to see improvement. Their palates open up. They're more interested in trying new things because they're not on fire anymore. So tell me in the chat, I'm going to stop here and just let me know. Have you noticed anything, any of these signs in your children that have autism or ADHD? And even if your child isn't diagnosed and you have concerns, have you seen any of these signs? And yeah, I'm interested to know if you've noticed any of these in your children. Increased meltdowns and emotional dysregulation after they eat certain foods. I have parents sharing, I mean, there's lots of foods, but especially things like dairy and constipation. I'll give you an example. I had this child that's 2 years old that I was evaluating, and mom came on the call and told me that she was scared of her child. And this lady has at least 8 other kids.
Packages that they will find. So we kind of do
Know that, okay, yeah, you've noticed this in your son. Thank you for sharing. So you know that for sure she's not scared of kids, right? But what was going on with this child? He was really aggressive, hitting really hard. He broke her glasses on her face, slapped her so hard. And the other thing was he was constipated, he was not sleeping well, was drinking a ton of milk, was he verbally he was nonverbal, right? So there's all these things happening at the same time in this little child. And so I told mom, hey, before our next visit for the evaluation, can you take him or try just decrease the amount of dairy he's drinking, because he's 2, he doesn't need that much, right? And research shows that dairy can constipate your child. So mom thought I was crazy, but she's like, what do I have to lose? So she tried him off dairy for 2 weeks. And I saw her 2 weeks later and she said, my son is no longer aggressive. He acts like a toddler now. It's like, so where did the aggression go? So I'll tell you what happened, right? She took away dairy, which was inflaming his gut, which was making him constipated, and he was acting out with aggression, right? So you take away the dairy or the food, right? Dairy is one of us, it's a drink, but it's a food, right? And now the gut inflammation has come down. The constipation, which also inflames the gut, has been decreased. So do you see how there's such a connection between behavior and food? And that's why we're going over this. So let me know in the chat if you're following along and how we're doing so far. Anybody? How are we doing? Good. Hey, you want me to call you out? Somebody say something. See, doing my best to listen. I think I'm understanding. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, thank you for the encouragement. I'll keep going. Okay. So we're gonna talk about common holiday triggers, right? This could be increased sugar exposure from desserts and treats. What does sugar do? Sugar inflames the gut, which inflames the brain. Artificial dyes, that's a big one that's been in the news lately. And I just want to stop here and say it's not just red 40 you need to take out. You need to take out all the dyes, right? The yellows, the blues, the greens. Basically, if it wasn't colored with a vegetable or a fruit, you shouldn't be going in your mouth, because I want us at the end of this to leave with this in our minds, right? That we will fall in love with the health of our brains. And that means that before you put something in your mouth or in your child's mouth, you want to ask the question, is my child's brain going to love this? And if the answer is no, based on what you learned today, then you shouldn't be eating it, right? So artificial dyes are neurotoxic, meaning they are toxic to the brain. And that's been proven. In Europe, all these dyes we have in our foods in the US, it's not in their food. It's been banned because they're following what the research shows, right? So, oh, I think I went too fast. Let's see. Oops. Let's see. How do I go back? Okay, yeah. So seed oil that I used in frying, Dr. Amara is going to go over this more, and preservatives and additives. And also, of course, the changes in routine. Our children with ADHD and autism often love routine, right? And sometimes they struggle and they have difficulties when there's lots of changes in routine. And so that can also impact the way they eat and how they're digesting and their sleep. So if it impacts their sleep, then it impacts the way they eat. And so you see, again, everything is connected, right? So increased sugar, of course, again, suppresses the immune response of the body. Less sleep and high stimulation affects cortisol. So what is cortisol? Is the stress hormone that gets released, right? So if your child is sleeping less because they're in an unfamiliar place, because there's been a change in their schedule, then their stress hormone levels will activate more, and they'll be more irritable and more meltdowns, and I'm sure you get the gist of it, right? Traveling, and everybody's sick right now, and just the fact that our children with ADHD and autism already have an underlying inflammation going on in their bodies, right? Because they have lots of deficiencies in enzyme. They have their digestive system sometimes doesn't work as well as it could, right? So all of these things play a role in the way our children are, especially during the holidays. So the gut is an immune organ, right? Because 70% of immune cells live in the gut, right? So therefore, when the gut lining is inflamed, that means the immune system is also affected. So do you see what I mean by everything is literally connected to each other? So it's important and critical that you support gut health of your child, so you can support your child's immune system, so you can support your child's neural system, which is the brain, right? Because anything that's inflaming the gut will inflame the brain and therefore affect your child's immune system. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to let Dr. Amara take over and discuss the practical holiday strategies we'd like to share with you. If you have questions about anything I've said, please put them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer questions at the end of the masterclass.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Eko. Okay, and can you drop an emoji in the chat if this has been helpful so far before we go into the next session? You can leave an emoji in the chat, a thumbs up, a heart emoji. Just let us know how has this been so far. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll be talking about practical. Dr. Eko just went over, the things you need to know, why, whatever strategy we're going to be sharing right now will be very beneficial. So now I want to talk about how can we practically implement everything she has said. How can we ensure that your child's gut is not too inflamed? And one of the things we want to say is that our major goal for this masterclass is to ensure that by the time we get into January, we don't want you starting off afresh. Like we don't want having to start all over with your child's nutrition, having to wean them all off sugar, or try to create a meal plan to address an issue. So we want to make sure that you take advantage of the holiday season to ensure that they eat right. Okay. So the first thing I want you to know is that during the holidays, yes, there'll be foods everywhere, but protein helps balance your child's blood sugar levels. So ensure that there is protein. Now, I know that some children may be picky, and if you need help with, working on your child's diet, if you think your child is deficient in nutrition and they're not getting as much nutrition as possible, please reach out to us. We can help you address that. But your child needs protein, so to help stabilize energy and balance their blood sugar to avoid those, crashes in behavior. The next thing your child needs is fiber. Dr. Eko just talked about, an inflamed gut lining. So one of the things we need to help your child have a healthy gut is fiber. We need your child to get fiber-rich food. It helps the gut, it helps digestion. So we want to ensure your child gets fiber-rich foods. Now, healthy fats is very good for your child's brain. So, and I'm going to talk about how we can incorporate that. So, when we're talking about protein, it could be plant-based protein, it could be animal-based protein. So, the chicken, the turkeys, the beefs, that is something you want your child to have, right? So, when it comes to fiber, so oats, baking with almond flours. Okay, so someone is saying, I really want to answer this. Someone is saying, what if your child, sorry, I have to scroll down. Okay, someone said, what if your child will only eat certain food? My child only eats 8 food items and it doesn't include any meat, fruit, or vegetables except French fries. Okay, I would answer that question at the end. I just want to make sure we run through, but that is a very critical question that I would love to answer. Okay, thank you for asking. So healthy fats is amazing. You can incorporate that into fried food. So if you, for example, you're making fries at home, you can actually fry that with healthy fats like coconut oil. You can fry that with avocado oil. You can fry that with beef tallow if that's something you would like. So those are good ways to, and also with nuts and seeds, we'll talk about how that can be incorporated. So, and the next thing is, yes, holiday season is all about treats, but I would show you today that there are treats that you can enjoy that can also be very nourishing to your child. So next slide. So what else can we do? So before attending events, you can choose to offer a protein-based meal or a snack before arrival. Personally, I do that regardless if I know we are going out and I know that I mean, you don't have control over what people choose to serve at an event, but you have control over what your child eats at home. So I would not encourage that your child goes out very hungry. I mean, if it's an event, try as much as you can to make sure they get something that's as little as a smoothie. Sometimes I offer a very nice protein, nutrient-dense smoothie. I give that to my son before we go out. So I know that, whatever they offer, I wouldn't want to restrict too much, right? So you can also pack a safe dish. I do that. There's nothing wrong in you. And when I say a dish, you don't have to make something complex, but it can be, a toast. It can be your own homemade. Sometimes I go with waffles. I make protein waffles and I take it along with me. You can make homemade nutrient-dense muffins or cupcakes, something nourishing that you can have so you don't totally rely on whatever they serve at the event, something they would love. And I know someone spoke about French fries. So I don't know if your child tolerates French fries at home. You can actually make French fries at home fry them with things like with avocado oil. You can fry them with beef tallow to ensure they get good healthy fat. So there are ways to navigate that. Also, another thing you also want to ensure is hydration, right? So we have some electrolytes we recommend in our practice that taste really good, that tastes really good that you can ensure your child takes throughout the day. We have our probiotic complex drink that children you really love in the practice that has probiotics, prebiotics, and postbiotics. those are little ways to ensure that your child is hydrated, or even water. You can make sure that you bring water. Now, with Thanksgiving and most festive events, most people are allowed to bring their home food. You can bring something if it is allowed. It's a good option for you to bring things that your child or your family will enjoy. But one of the major things I want you to take note of is during the holidays, a lot will be going on, but you can navigate this by being intentional about the food choices you're making. So in a day, take an inventory. Now, it cannot be perfect for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but there is something I call the vehicle. What now? I understand when we work with our patients in our practice, one of the things I try to navigate with parents is what is the vehicle for your child's nutrition? So what sources do we have to help introduce lots of nutrients into your child's diet? Now, for the parent who just said something about my child only eats 8 foods, there are other things we could do to help introduce, or use as a vehicle to add more nutrients to their diet, right? So and like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but between breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, or maybe if they eat 4 times a day or 3 times a day, you can, there could be one meal that can carry or that can be adjusted or modified to incorporate, as much nutrients as possible. One of the things we do not want is to keep the child in a state of nutritional deficiency where they are being starved of the nutrient the body needs to function. Okay, so now with the holiday season, it could either be you're traveling, it could be you're not traveling and you're around. So if you're traveling, some good things to do will be, you want to make sure you have healthy snacks. So if you follow our Instagram page, you see we share a lot about things to get at Sprouts, Costco, Whole Foods that are actually minimally processed. So one of the things you want to avoid will be ultra processed snacks. Dr. Eko just spoke about how artificial dyes, artificial flavors, sugar, seed oils can inflame your child's gut. So, but there are other snacks that can. I went to the store yesterday to just look at what they have available, that we can record for, that we can share on our page. And there are lots of good options. So for ice creams, baking, snacks, treats, there are good options. Not perfect, but the goal here is to minimize the amount of sugar, the amount of gluten, the amount of inflammatory foods your child is consuming. Okay, I was reading something somewhere and it says that just one meal will not compromise or have a negative impact on your child's immune system or on your immune system. It is when you buy a whole carton, you buy a whole box of a 24-pack Doritos and that child consumes it in 2 weeks, then we have a problem there. So, but if you make better choices, you will it becomes easier. So if you're traveling, you want to make sure you have access to healthy snacks. I'm going to share a few of them. You want to make sure you have access to things like vegetables, supplements. This is flu season. This is the time to make sure your child is having supplements like vitamin C, vitamin zinc, elderberry, things that can help support the immune system. And again, for supplements, I mean, this is not a medical advice, but I would say if you are confused about what supplements your child should be taking, you definitely want to book a call with us to speak with Dr. Eko so we can look at your child's nutritional profile and see, because there is something called intentional supplementation where you are supplementing based on your child's area of needs and not just loading them with supplements they don't need. And sometimes most of the supplements on the market is not easily absorbed into your child's bloodstream. So you want to make sure that you are, choosing the right supplements that would give you the right results. Hydration, I already spoke about that. Now, this is another place that you would encounter some challenges while at a restaurant. I would always say, opt for grilled instead of fried. Yes, your child may like fried, okay, but you can also go for things like mashed potatoes if they like it. Look at most of the kids' meal. I look at some of the kids' meal, and it's literally just processed foods. So look around, and I would say choose single whole food ingredients. So things that come in one ingredient. You don't want mac and cheese in in most restaurants is made from gluten and it comes with dairy. So if your child is sensitive, that's a choice you don't want to make. So you can make very easy choices that would not trigger inflammation. Okay. And now I made these pictures just to kind of illustrate on how little choices can go a long way. So I will start with Thanksgiving. Um, the first thing I know everybody wants to talk about, everybody gets for Thanksgiving is a turkey. So this is the Rigo. The Butterball brand is the most popular brand. But if you check in places like Costco, places like Sprout, I've not been to, I intend to go to Walmart somewhere around the weekend. You can go for pasture raised or organic, that's much better. But at the same time, if what you can afford is the butterball, that's fine. One turkey would not, harm your child's diet. So, but things like the mashed potatoes, I would strongly advise you make yours from scratch. You don't have to choose the Idaho brand that has other ingredients. Now, remember, we are trying to run away from things. We are trying to run away from things. We're trying to run away from ingredients like gums, like additives, preservatives. You don't need all of those things. So for gravies, the Primal Kitchen has a good one, is a good option. Um, Most of them are filled with artificial flavors. They are filled with different kind of added ingredients that your child doesn't eat. The same thing, the sweet potatoes we see, the can, most of them have sugars, most of them have emulsifiers. You don't need those added ingredients. So go for, if you want to actually buy things from the store, you need to go for things that are minimally processed. So at this point, it is an encouragement to everyone here. Change the oils. Things like vegetable oil, canola, corn oil should not be what you want to fry or cook with. Avocado is very versatile. I like it because you can fry with it, you can saute with it. It's survived, it does well on high heat. I would not, most parents say they use extra virgin olive oil. The reason why olive oil is very tricky is that you want to be sure of the sourcing. Most olive oils are actually just seed oil. So if you would get the original one, if you would ever use olive oil, it has to be original. It has to come from a single origin and it has to be in a glass bottle, a glass dark bottle. But the dicey part of olive oil is that you can't cook on high heat with it. So except you're using it for dressings, for soups, for sauces, but you can't really fry or do anything high heat with olive oil. Now, if your child is not of dairy, you can do, instead of doing the conventional one, you can do the grass-fed organic milk. At Sprouts, they have a milk called Kalona. That one is low temp processed. Um, you can go, but please avoid the conventional dairy. So for chicken broth, bone broth is great. It's a good swap for your child, good for their immune system, good for their gut, help reduce inflammation. And for whipping cream, again, we would want you to go for organic. And most of the whipping creams have added emulsifiers that would irritate your child's gut. Okay. So for baking, um, the same thing goes for baking. Um, I included some good options, some better options, and I would go through the ingredients. So baking powder, we want it to be aluminum free. Remember, aluminum is a heavy metal. We want it to be aluminum free. So go for heavy metal, go for aluminum free baking powders. And for condensed milk, so anything that is creamy, look at the ingredient. Most of the times they have added gums to it. They add gums, things like cellulose, guar gum to help it, become to help increase the consistency. So you want to make sure that you are getting plain condensed milk. If it's whipping cream, the only ingredient that should be there should just be milk alone. The same thing with Dr. Eko just spoke about. Sorry, excuse me. Dr. Eko just spoke about sprinkles. She just spoke about dyes. So most of the sprinkles you see, they are all colored with what? Red 40, blue, whatever, yellow. So we want to go for sprinkles that is being colored with food like beetroot, spirulina, and the Softies is a very good brand. Um, the same thing with Jello. So when you see things like Jello, anything jelly, anything creamy, it's look at the ingredients, you would always find things that would irritate your child's gut. So that's a good one while you're shopping. For rolls, I know I mean, everyone will do bread this season. You can go for gluten-free. I love the Hero brand, not 100% perfect, but very in terms of because when we provide swaps, I want to make sure that it is a little bit closer to what you would enjoy. It's not like it's opposite. So in terms of the texture, the taste, the Hero brand is great. And I like it because it's high in fiber, which is what we want for your child. Um, it's high in fiber, it's zero sugar, so it's low in carbs, so your child is not having, it's not too high in carbohydrates. So you can find the Hero at Sprouts, Whole Foods, I think Target. Those are the three stores I have seen it so far. So the for corn mix, most of the corn mix have other added ingredients. So the same thing applies to everything on the list here. Please look at the ingredient list. Okay. Now, this one for bakings, I know most people want, everyone will be making a cake at some point, somewhere, somehow. You want to avoid these brands. Now, why are we avoiding these brands? And I would use one as an example. When you look at this is the most popular one. When you look at the super moist cake mix, the first thing we have is enriched flour. And where is the flour coming from? It's coming from bleached wheat flour with lots of synthetic vitamins, right? It has corn syrup, it has cornstarch, and as a rule of thumb, now look at we have zaitan gum, we have cellulose gum, we have natural and artificial flavors. So, and all of those things. Now, when you cannot pronounce the ingredient, it's already a red flag. I don't want to try to pronounce, Dr. Eko can try, but I don't want to attempt pronouncing most. But when you can't pronounce the ingredient, it's already a red flag that this is something that your child, and this is not just about your child. And most of 99% of the parents in our membership, in our practice, benefit from the meal plans that we give to children. So I would consider this a whole, like a family plan, because you will not make two cakes, right? You will make one and have it, everyone will share from it. So these are some of the ingredients. These are the reasons why we want you to be very intentional about what you're getting. Now, for good options, I love this brand so much because I love the Simple Meals brand because when it comes to baking, so first of all, this is gluten free. So in case you want to make a pumpkin bread or pumpkin muffin, this is a good option. And I will go through the ingredients in a short while. Now, why is this a better recommendation than the soft mix? To be honest, I have, a box of these at home and I make them almost every other weekend. The texture, the taste is amazing. You would not know it's almond flour. You would not know it's gluten-free. It comes out fluffy, nice, and very tasty. And now let's look at the ingredients. So the first ingredient we have here is what? Almond flour, organic coconut sugar, real pumpkin, not pumpkin flavor, not pumpkin, whatever, real pumpkin, arrowroot, organic spices, organic coconut flour, baking soda, and sea salt. That sounds like ingredients you recognize, things you would definitely have in your kitchen. So you can see that when you are, and this you don't have to get this brand. You could, depending on where you are. I mean, this is at Walmart, it's literally everywhere. But if you would not get this brand, I mean, they are not paying us for advertisement, so it's not like so. But if you would get any other brand, you want to make sure the ingredients are, things you understand and things that are nourishing. So if your child, now we are talking about how can we, enjoy the holidays and still not feel guilty? If you make something like this and you add some carrots to it, or you add like some walnuts to it, some blended walnut, chopped walnuts. That is already a balanced meal there with fiber, with healthy fats, with protein. So, and your child has like one before they go out. This is a good treat, right? So, the next thing, the popular sodas, drinks, and all of that, I didn't really want. And I'm talking about all things soda, Coke, Fanta, Dr Pepper, Pepsi, everything. These are things you want to minimize, both for your child, both for you as an adult. And there are other better options. So we have the Olipop brand, not perfect, but at least I will take, instead of this one with over 26 grams of sugar per can, I will take the Olipop brand that has about just, I think, 3 grams of sugar. We have this one, the Uncle Matt's juice that has no added sugar at all. In fact, this particular brand is one of the brands that we usually have on our customized plans for our patients. It has vitamin C, it has elderberry, it comes with zinc, it has vitamin D. So, and those are like real sources. You can do juice, cold pressed juices. You can make your juice at home if you want to. So there are lots of good brands that you can, have instead of the regular. And the poppy one is also good. Not the best of the best, not perfect, but in terms of it has prebiotic fiber inside of it, which is good for the gut in a little way. As I would take that instead of drinking a can of Coke or Dr. Pepper. Sometimes when we have potlucks or when we have to visit, go for events, I grab a can, I grab a box of 6 or 12, and I take it along with me, right? And when I get there, people are like, "Oh, I've never seen this before, but this tastes nice and it's healthy and the sugar is lesser." So you can always, if you're having to visit, you can grab a box of this so that you and your family can enjoy and others can share as well. Okay. Another thing we enjoy during the holidays is hot chocolate. I mean, the weather is getting cold, and while watching a movie, Christmas movie, you definitely cannot get miss hot. But these are some of the brands that we want to avoid. Why? Just like Dr. Eko said, how do we implement some of the things she has said? We want to reduce sugar. Sugar will inflame your child's gut. Sugar will suppress your child's immune system. So these brands are common brands, very popular, but they are not good for you. So why are they not good? Now let's look at one of the most common ones. And then what's the first ingredient here? Sugar. I looked at this and this has 26 grams of sugar per serving. So if it's, for example, if you come to the pantry makeover class, we usually do the calculation. So if this whole can contains 12 servings or 10 servings, the child or whosoever has consumed what? 260 grams of sugar, right? So now when you look at and for any product at all that has the first ingredient as sugar, as a rule of thumb, just know that whatever ingredient you see as the first has the highest amount. So if the first ingredient is coconut flour, that's the highest amount, okay? So sugar is the first ingredient, and it has corn syrup, wrong, that's already a red flag. It has gums, it has artificial flavors, and it has things that we cannot again pronounce. Now it has gum arabic, it has cream. So this is literally a potential inflammatory product for your child. Okay, now we have some other good options. Why? Now let's look at one of them. So this is also hot chocolate, but let's look at the ingredient. This is organic cacao instead of cocoa. And just so you know that cocoa is made from cacao. This one has organic coconut milk, grass-fed collagen, monk fruit instead of sugar, cinnamon, ashwagandha, which helps with stress, lion's mane, which help with those are adaptogens, which help with managing stress, and turmeric, which is good for inflammation. So I use this brand, and I use another one that I didn't remember to put here, but just putting this in, adding it to, your favorite plant-based milk, adding some maple syrup. The truth is there is no difference between this and the taste does not really differ. So you can see that your child can enjoy, you can enjoy the holiday without loading your system with sugar. Okay. And so what are the major key takeaways that I want to make sure we answer questions and we don't keep you. So what are the major key takeaways? Foods that nourish the gut will nourish the brain, just like Dr. Eko has taught us. So as you begin to navigate the grocery aisles, as you start going for shopping, this 1 hour is not enough for us to, guide you through the process. But if you feel overwhelmed about your child's nutrition and your child is not eating well, you think they are deficient in nutrition, you think their gut is imbalanced, we can definitely help you. Well, just like 1 hour is not enough for us to go over everything you need to do or address all your concerns. But I am very sure that your next trip to the grocery store, your eyes will be, shining in a different direction because you now know what to put into your cart and what not to put. Now, supporting your child's immune system throughout the holidays would help reduce regression. So, apart from being a health coach for a pediatric health coach, I also work with parents of children with autism. I provide home-based ABA therapy, and one of the major concerns parents always have in January, we have lots of reports of regression. So it's either there are behavioral regressions or we are having to, readapt plans, change treatment plans because, oh, the child we had who was making progress with communication or who was able to say a couple of things, now in January, they can't say. We are having to, restart their plans, reboot and troubleshoot. So we don't want that for you. We don't want you to experience any regression. We want you to maintain progress by being intentional. So this is not now you can see for every bad choice, I had a good option for you. So it's not like I'm saying, okay, fold your hands and eat celeries and breathe air and and cucumbers. No, you can definitely, and if you're in our practice or if you join any of our programs, I can actually sit with you and make sure that you have everything you need to make sure the holiday, or not just the holiday, and even your child's diet is better. So small consistent action, a little bit here and there would go a long way. So rather than worrying about changing everything, you can start by changing one thing. So I know parents who attend the class and they change the oils they use. They no longer, they look for much better options. Now, if you attend the pantry makeover class, there are lots of things you would change in your pantry and begin to see little results. So um, we have services that can help you. We have our medical evaluation. So if your child is not yet diagnosed, Dr. Eko offers medical evaluations that come with a holistic roadmap. So we don't just give you the evaluations and leave you hanging. We provide you with a step-by-step roadmap on what you should do. We have small packages that you can run into. So if your child is having symptoms of pica, being overly aggressive, and you think they're high in heavy metals, or they need or parasites or yeast overgrowth, we have a gentle detox program. We also have a gut reset program that helps address all things leaky gut, imbalanced gut, inflamed gut. We have a program, and we also have the membership where you get any of these services, and also you get ongoing support, and you join other parents, to enjoy support and get the help you need. So, but before we go, I want to answer questions. I'm just going to stop sharing. So far, can you drop your emojis in the chat and let us know how has this been for you so far? Okay, I am going to look at the chat. Okay, someone said, yeah, so let's go at questions. What if my child only eats certain foods? My child only eats 8 food items. It doesn't include meat, fruit, or vegetables. I want to know what are those 8 items. But please, this looks like something we need to handle one-on-one, because we want to evaluate what are those 8 items and possibly see how we can improve his diet. It sounds a lot like, there is picky eating, but Dr. Eko can address this. Let me just look about the are there some brands you recommend for supplements? Yes, we have brands that we recommend. It depends on what you're looking for and what your child is deficient in. How about coconut oil? Coconut oil is perfect. One of our most favorite, one of our most favorite healthy fats. Yes, yes, yes.
I
Okay.
will follow up. I'm the one with the child that only eats 8 foods. That
Yes,
would be
ma'am.
that you hear in the background. But I'll follow up and contact you guys and make an appointment.
Yes, please. We really that we really need to sit down and see what is going on. So the gut reset program, or you can book an appointment and let us dive in a lot more deeper to see what's going on. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you have a number? Do you want to send us? Do you have a number so we can contact you if you want us to reach out to
Yeah,
you?
put it in the chat.
Yes, please do that. Thank you. Okay. Any other?
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, for my own child, I was waiting for you to answer that question actually, if that could help me. For my own child, I wouldn't say she eats 8 food, but she likes specific kind of food. She eats meat, she eats rice, but she loves swallow a lot. So that's
Okay.
like her major food. I'm a Nigerian, so what I try to do is to incorporate like leaves, scent leaves, bitter leaves,
Mm-hmm.
melons into soup that she can use. Then there's this 1 degree sprout oatmeal you posted one time.
Yes,
So
yes.
I use that, I blend it and use that to make swallow for her. But that's
Amazing.
just about all she eats.
Okay, so with this now, when they have, yes, you can, sorry, Karen, Karen, yes, we will send the recording to you. Thank you for asking. So when there is an extreme preference to foods, there is definitely something we need to address in the gut. Okay, so I will still encourage you that we just have about 4 minutes left, but it's good that we have a vehicle. There's something she eats, but I can already just see from surface level that there is still an opportunity for us to increase her food choices and expand her palate. So
Okay.
please, 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 it's very important that you can leave your number and we will call you tomorrow. Tomorrow is
Okay.
Wednesday. So you can just leave your number in the chat, or you can send me a private message. So I have your number and we will definitely reach out to you so we can see where we can any which of the services that will be much more helpful to you. But we
Okay.
can definitely address that. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, please, any other questions? We have a few minutes, just about 3 or 4 minutes left. Any other questions? Yes, someone who asked a question about supplement. We don't, yes, there are brands we recommend that we know that are easily absorbed into the body and that would, help your child. But like I said earlier on, with supplementation, you have to be intentional. And one of the things we do in the practice is to evaluate your child's nutrition. So, for example, Peace, who just spoke now, looking at her child's nutrition, there are supplements that she may not need, and there are supplements that we need to be able to, when you look at supplementation, it is there to supplement. So it's there to add to something. But before we add it, we need to find out what is missing, right? So if your child's diet is already high in vitamin C or high in vitamin D, we don't. So if for a child who is consuming lots of dairy, doesn't need a vitamin D, so right, supplement. So, but please, whether you choose to come to us or not, be very intentional. Do not supplement without addressing what's deficient. Okay, so thank you so much. Oh yes, Karen, thank you so much. Thank you. We would send you the recording just right after the class. Okay. If you registered, you would definitely get the recording, so you watch again and you can look through, take pictures of whatever you need to.
Right.
Okay. Lucretia, do you want to say something? I see you on mute.
No, it's just that those 8 foods, he only drank water and Sprite. It has to be clear. And the 8 foods have to be beige or brown, or he won't eat them.
It has to be bland, like bland.
Brown, a beige, the color. It has to be a certain color, brown or beige.
We definitely need to address that. So
And it
please,
has to be a certain brand as well. He won't do off brands. Found out for COVID, he knew the difference. So, yeah.
okay, please reach out to us. That's something we can definitely help you with. Okay, thank you all so much for joining. If you have any questions, Eric, you can drop our phone number and email and just take note of all the numbers. Take note of Lucretia's number and piece so we can call them tomorrow. But if you have any questions, please, you can call, email us, and we will be glad to support you and reach back to you. Okay, thank you. Yes, that's our phone number. Yes, please, you're welcome. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate having you here. And please share this when you get the recording, share it with your friends or family that you know may need the help and may need to hear this, right? And so our mission is to help as many families as we can. And that's why we show up every month. We have master classes every single month where we're doing different topics. So please stay in touch. We will stay in touch with you and let us know if if you have questions, if there are topics you need for us to cover, and reach out to us. So thank you so much again for coming. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.